Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Today's discussion centers on an interesting question that continues to generate debate among Iraqi dinar followers and international market observers. The question is simple but important. If Iraq wants to attract significant foreign investment, does it ultimately need a currency that can participate more fully in the international financial system? This question recently resurfaced after commentary, suggesting that Iraq's long-term objective is to have a stronger and more internationally integrated dinar that operates smoothly alongside other global banking systems. It is important to emphasize from the beginning that these comments represent an opinion about Iraq's long-term economic direction rather than an official announcement from the Central Bank of Iraq, the Iraqi government, or any international financial institution. Foreign investment depends on many different factors, and currency policy is only one piece of a much larger economic picture. Investors typically evaluate political stability, legal protections, banking infrastructure, tax policy, energy availability, security conditions, transportation networks, labor markets, and the ability to move capital efficiently across borders. Currency stability certainly matters, but it is only one component of the overall investment environment. When analysts discuss a tradable currency, they are generally referring to a currency that can be exchanged more freely through international financial markets and supported by modern banking relationships. That does not necessarily mean a dramatic appreciation in value or a sudden policy change. Instead, it often reflects confidence in monetary policy, banking supervision, payment systems, transparency, and financial regulation. Iraq has spent years implementing banking reforms intended to modernize its financial sector. Authorities have worked to expand electronic payment systems, strengthen anti-money laundering, and counter-terrorist financing controls, improve compliance with international banking standards, and increase transparency throughout the financial system. These reforms are widely viewed as important, regardless of whether any future exchange rate policy changes occur. The Central Bank of Iraq has repeatedly stated that its primary objectives include maintaining monetary stability, controlling inflation, protecting foreign exchange reserves, and strengthening confidence in the banking system. Those goals are consistent with the priorities of many central banks around the world, and generally support a stable environment for economic growth. From an investor's perspective, stability is often more valuable than rapid currency movements. Large institutional investors typically seek predictable economic conditions rather than sudden exchange rate volatility. A stable banking system, reliable regulations, enforceable contracts, and consistent government policy can often influence investment decisions more than the nominal value of a country's currency. Supporters of the commentary argue that deeper integration with international banking could make Iraq more attractive to global investors by facilitating trade, cross-border payments, and financial transactions. Critics, however, note that meaningful progress also depends on continued institutional reforms, private sector development, diversification beyond oil revenues, and sustained political and economic stability. For Iraqi dinar followers, the practical takeaway is that banking modernization and financial reform are generally positive developments for Iraq's long-term economy. However, they should not automatically be interpreted as confirmation of an imminent revaluation or a specific future exchange rate. Exchange rate decisions remain under the authority of the Central Bank of Iraq and depend on a broad range of economic considerations. In the short term, market participants are likely to continue monitoring official announcements from Iraqi authorities regarding banking reforms, budget implementation, monetary policy, and international financial cooperation. These developments can provide insight into the direction of Iraq's financial modernization, even if they do not immediately translate into changes in the exchange rate. Looking further ahead, continued progress in financial infrastructure, regulatory standards, digital payments, international banking relationships, and private sector investment could strengthen Iraq's economic foundation. Such reforms may improve investor confidence over time and support broader economic development. Nevertheless, The timing and nature of any future currency policy decisions remain uncertain and should not be assumed based on commentary or speculation. It is also worth remembering that economic transformation is typically gradual. Countries seeking greater participation in the global financial system often spend years implementing reforms before those efforts are fully reflected in investment flows or financial market outcomes. Iraq appears to be continuing along that broader modernization path, but the pace and results will depend on ongoing policy implementation and economic conditions. For viewers who follow Iraqi dinar developments closely, the most reliable approach is to distinguish between official announcements and personal opinions. Commentary can provide useful perspectives, but major financial conclusions should always be supported by statements from the Central Bank of Iraq, the Iraqi government, or other credible institutions. As always, we will continue monitoring official developments related to Iraq's banking sector, monetary policy, foreign investment, and broader economic reforms, providing balanced analysis based on verified information rather than speculation. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate responsible, factual, and balanced coverage of Iraqi dinar developments, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. This content is provided for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered financial, investment, or trading advice. Always conduct your own research and consult qualified financial professionals before making any investment decisions.